Hey boys, welcome back to What If Democrats Republicans Had a War Part 2, the infighting. Now the Republicans have to decide, was that peace deal fair? What do people want? It's obviously the Republicans have broken down quite heavily. Now look at this. It's still a faction, and there's still members across the US. But the major members like Texas, Pennsylvania now, have joined other factions. The Confederation is what Pennsylvania formed, and they've actually gained an ally, Utah. Utah was like, you know what? Pennsylvania's right at my doorstep now, and they're huge. I don't want to screw with them. I'm just going to join them. If you can't beat them, join them. A major war broke out here between Wisconsin and quite almost everybody. The Kentucky Empire came up and seized most of Illinois from Wisconsin. Wisconsin also owned Minnesota. It was the only other state aside from Pennsylvania that actually gained territory, and everyone was just like, you know what? Nope. And they're all taking down Wisconsin. Now, big thanks to Andrew, Bloggin Fletcher, Infinitum Gamer, Paxis, Rodney, and Samuel Bjornson, and as well as my brand new $25 patron, Bubby Akala. Akakala? Jeez, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, man, but I appreciate your support. And if you would like to support the channel that you like, calm down, level up, then please visit the Patreon link in the description below. Also, boys, super close to 30K. Remember, boys, submit your CountryBall Art contest submissions to me on Twitter or email or Discord. Pick a moment that you liked from my videos. It could be literally any moment, and turn it into a CountryBall comic and send it to me, and I'm going to pick my favorite 3, and the favorite 3 get prizes at the end. I'm also going to show off almost every submission, but the 3 winners will get the prizes, so please submit them to me. We're almost at 30K, so your time's running out. Right, boys, that now that part 1 is long gone and the libs have been owned, the conservatives, the Republicans, are going to have to figure out what are they going to do, and they've decided infighting. So boys, let's get this started back up and check out what's gonna happen. Instantly, I'm noticing the socialist state of Iowa. Oh, look at that. We must prepare for the worst. Again, another day the earth stood still. Arkansas capitulated to, I think, Texas, and actually a coalition of nations. But I've noticed that Iowa is fighting a 2-front war. They've pushed Wisconsin halfway out of Minnesota, and Ontario did the other half. Looks like Ontario is really trying to expand south. And Iowa is fighting Missouri right now, and Missouri is only at war with Iowa. They occupy a little bit of Arkansas, so we'll see if they get that state. They probably won't unless they control the city. Controller Texas, yes. So Missouri won't be gaining that state in the peace deal with Arkansas. South Dakota joined Confederation. I wonder if that's the same Confederation. No, it's not. It's a green Confederation. There's 3 different confederations right here that are all different colors. Oh, and there's 2 different yellow confederations right here as well. We can see the states that are still Republicans are Montana, Wyoming, Arizona, Oklahoma, Michigan, Ohio, and Indiana. Mississippi, Florida, and North Carolina are sticking by the Republican. And we can also see that Idaho is sticking up to Pennsylvania and Utah. They're the only ones that are fighting them over here. They're definitely gonna lose, and all Utah's doing is making Papa Pennsylvania bigger. Pennsylvania's forces are already all over the place in the West Coast. Pennsylvania took... Oh god. Hold on. Just wait a second. Jeez. Okay, so Pennsylvania just declared war on Ontario. That's not good for Ontario, or basically the rest of the country. Just the rest of the whole world here. Pennsylvania took 3 states. Arkansas was puppeted. Ohio was annexed. Okay, so Arkansas is probably a puppet of... It's a protectorate of Pennsylvania. What is going on? So Texas didn't even get to expand, even though they were the ones that took most of Arkansas. Makes sense to me. But this is going to be a cool war, I think, over here. Ontario's not quite the behemoth. Wisconsin just capitulated, too. They were quite a big enemy to most people. They're not quite the behemoth like Pennsylvania is. But they do have the divisions, and the spots where Pennsylvania has to cross are quite thin, except it does look like they've already taken Ottawa, and they have crossed the river. If Ontario can contain Pennsylvania, then they might have a chance and just wear them down. Except Ontario is fighting a 2-front war. They're fighting against Missouri? Yeah, wow. Okay, so Missouri has made a comeback. They were squished here for for a little while. They were looking like they were gonna die. But look at all this territory they're now controlling. Okay, what just happened there? Jeez, it's so hard to keep up. Missouri took 1 state, Kentucky took 8 states. Wisconsin was puppeted. Okay, so Wisconsin was dealt with. And it was this state, Southwest Illinois, that was annexed by Missouri. Kentucky took the rest. Wisconsin was puppeted up here, probably by Kentucky? No, it was puppeted by Missouri. Okay. Oh, wow, they've already capitulated. Rest in peace. They're now going after Arizona, which I think means they're going to be at war with the whole Republican faction. And that means this whole Rust Belt area here is going to be at war with Pennsylvania. Now, whichever side wins, if the Republicans win against Pennsylvania, then I think the winner of the game will be unknown for a while. But if Pennsylvania is able to conquer the Rust Belt states here, and then also, don't forget Montana and Wyoming are going to be on the Republican side, then Pennsylvania's, we might just call it for them. But we don't know. Michigan, Ohio, and Indiana, these are all strong states. As well as in the West Coast, they're going to have to fight Montana, Wyoming, and Arizona at the same time. But wow, I did not see Arizona dying that quick coming. Yes, and there goes Ohio's assault into Pennsylvania, as well as Michigan. Can the coalition of the remaining Republican states take down the rogue Pennsylvania? So it's going pretty good for the Republicans in the East Coast. What about the West Coast? Oh, that's right, Utah is siding with Pennsylvania, so Utah is going to hurt Wyoming, Montana, and Arizona's ability to fight. But they're looking like they're doing pretty good. You never know, though. Utah is getting surrounded. Also, there was another front here that I totally forgot about. Arkansas was a puppet of Pennsylvania. Oklahoma and Mississippi, both in the Republican faction. They moved in quickly and swiftly and occupied the little puppet down there. Wow, this is a big war. And it looks like Pennsylvania is going to lose against this coalition. I don't want to call anything too early because this mod is very unpredictable. Wow, this is like a Michigan-y wet dream right here. I guess the Republicans are really trying to just reclaim the country, and Canada now as well. Pennsylvania Empire just capitulated, but it's still in control of plenty of territory over here and is fighting the West Coast countries. It looks like Pennsylvania might win in the West Coast, and I think Utah might need to capitulate in order for the war to end. And Wyoming's definitely dead here. Wait, what just happened here? Texas declared war on Arkansas. Okay, so that means Texas essentially is siding with Republicans, and Pennsylvania has called Utah against Texas, even though Texas can't really reach the war. So all of the West Coast Republicans have surrendered. The Confederation is looking like it's pretty much isolated to the West Coast now. Pennsylvania does have Nova Scotia here as sort of a base. Oh my god, look at this. Lots of Pennsylvanian troops gathering in the Caribbean, and they are planning a naval invasion of Mississippi. Mississippi and Oklahoma, of course, being in the Republican faction. The Georgian Empire has just declared war on the state of Florida, and Florida is in the Republicans. What faction was Georgia in? A massive one. Another confederation. The other Gray Confederation. So both of the Gray Confederations are sort of working together now against the Republicans, and wow, this is a massive war over here. Mississippi and Oklahoma are able to help fight on the front against Missouri and Tennessee, but also the front against Louisiana because they are also in that confederation. North Carolina can help, Florida can help, and of course, our Rust Belt buddies that defeated the Great Pennsylvania can help. This seems like quite an evenly matched war, actually. I know Missouri is pretty powerful, as well as Kentucky at this point. Would you look at that? That's a lot of fighting and a lot of deaths. We should check on the deaths. Utah-Montana war. For the Republicans, while they've lost a lot more, Pennsylvania's little faction has actually only lost 466,000, whereas the Republicans have lost 1.14 million total. And the new confederation, the other Gray Confederation that consists in the Central America and Central United States, 318,000 so far, so that's actually quite a lot. Yeah, it's going up for how little time has passed. A lot of people are dying, and a lot of their divisions are dying. Mississippi on the Republican side has been defeated, but Georgia on the Confederation side has also been defeated. A large swath of Ontario has been captured from the Republicans by Missouri. And what just happened here? Tennessee Empire called Louisiana Empire in Kansas-Tennessee War. Okay, so they've declared war in Kansas as well. So Kansas is joining sort of on the Republican side, but not really because of a really dumb... Wow, look at Kansas's army. They've just made a huge mistake. Kansas is going to totally come in and conquer everything. Kansas is like the Polish hussars arriving at the Siege of Vienna to save the day. Wow, that's beautiful. I'm sorry if you're from Missouri and you really want Missouri to win, but that was just a beautiful moment, I think, in my eyes. The Republicans were looking like they were going to lose, but Kansas, in all its might, comes at the very right moment and saves the day. I'm going to set up a little time lapse for this war. I'll see you guys in a sec.
About the love of my life, yet I don't know where you are. Summer came, fall, I recall your steps in the hall. Even though it's years since you left, you're right here in my heart. Dear I just received the news that I'll be home for Christmas so that we can be together. I know you don't believe me when I say, but I can hardly breathe the air without you. Winter came, spring, all the birdies started to sing a song about the love of my life, yet I don't know where you are. Summer came, fall, I recall your steps in the hall.
Well, that war was intense. That was a pretty sweet one to watch, actually. It didn't take that long. It probably only took like 5 or 10 minutes. But wow, did that go both ways. It was really hard to tell who was going to win. For a while in the beginning, it looked like Republicans were going to win. And then it really looked like the Confederation was going to win. And then when Kansas joined, it looked like the Republicans were going to win again. And then the Confederation contained Kansas, and it looked like the Confederation was going to win again. But then all of a sudden, some states started surrendering. We saw Missouri surrender. We saw, I think, Wisconsin surrender. The states that were right on the border. It reminded me a lot of World War I, where the Central Powers did take a lot of territory, but they were just so exhausted that they had to surrender. And I think that's what happened with Missouri and a few of the states that were in the Confederation. They probably lost so much manpower, as we saw it was going up like crazy. The losses were going up like crazy. And they just couldn't take it anymore, so they all surrendered. Now the state of Michigan is massive. Missouri still occupies the amount of territory that they occupied at the end of the war up in Ontario, because that's all occupied territory. And they forced all these guys to join the Republicans. And now the Republicans control quite a good amount of territory. They're still at war with the Pennsylvania Confederation on the West Coast. They also had to deal with the state of Alabama sneakily coming in and declaring war on Florida and taking Georgia as well. But North Carolina held on. But overall, just a really fun war to watch. And I'm glad that I captured that in a time lapse. And slowly but surely, all the states on the East Coast are getting gobbled up and turned into Republican states. The Republican faction is a Democratic faction, so they are not really annexing the states. They're mostly just converting them and forcing them into their faction. All of these states here are quite the buffers. They basically just built a wall that separates the fascist West Coast, controlled by Pennsylvania, from the Republican Democratic East Coast, controlled by Ohio. Well, Ohio's the leader, at least. Michigan is probably the most powerful of the Republican states. Nebraskan Empire just declared war on Iowa. Does that bring in, no, that's the Confederation. Does that bring in the Republicans? It does not. Nebraska is really friendly with the Pennsylvanian Confederacy, but it is not allied to it. Also, South Carolina slowly being sieged, and now it's gone. And probably admitted into the Union? Yep, there it goes. South Carolina admitted into the new United States, slowly being rebuilt. Alright boys, Texas just declared war on New Mexico and called in Iowa, even though Iowa doesn't exist anymore. Oh, yeah, Texas was already at war with Pennsylvania. I think New Mexico just let Pennsylvanian forces enter the country. Possibly, I don't know. So before Texas can even fight Pennsylvania, they have to break through New Mexico, and possibly even capitulate Colorado, which, look at how good Texas is doing already. I think they're even outnumbered here, but they're still doing good. Now, boys, this is really important because one of two things is going to happen. Texas is going to win, and Pennsylvania will finally be dead. And the U.S. can, you know, not have this massive Cold War going on. Unless a new one starts with Texas and the Republicans. Or B, Texas loses, Pennsylvania pushes through Texas, and then now the Republicans have a gateway into the West Coast. So either or, this war is making, this war is going to bring the great American War we're seeing here come to an end. And New Mexico has just capitulated, so all the New Mexican divisions are now gone. And it looks like Texas is really attempting to now break into Colorado. Alright boys, Texas is at 0 manpower. Those divisions are starting to get really worn down. They have still yet to break into Colorado, although Arizona has been swiftly captured for the most part. And this appears like it might be Texas's Stalingrad moment. A massive encirclement in Southern California has just occurred. Rest in peace, Texas's army. Well, boys, it's finally over. 2 videos, 2 insane civil wars, and the North of America is, for the most part, at peace. Everywhere that Republicans control is now sort of the new United States. Obviously not everywhere is been added back into the US yet, but the majority of the country has been resubmitted back into the Union, with the dominating states being Michigan and Ohio, which actually isn't surprising. Pennsylvania put up a big fight there for a while with its support of Utah, and it got punished. All of its overseas territories over here were given to Michigan and Ohio. Utah was shrunk back down to its original size. And I believe the original Pennsylvania is all that it was given back. Here is the Michigany Empire, if you want to look at that. And here's Ohio's, so they control these bits. But this was pretty fun to watch, boys. I really enjoyed this one. I'm going to do another one with the 2008 election map. And then if that does good too, we're going to do one on the 2000 election map. And then we might find some other fun ones to do after that, but make sure to leave your suggestions down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit like, favorite, and subscribe if you guys are new. The channel's been growing like crazy lately, and I really appreciate all your support. Let's keep it going, and I'll see you guys all next time. Peace.